Hello, guys. It's a pleasure to be here with you tonight. And I thought I'd do a video to discuss a metaphor. I love metaphors. A vision that I got that I then interpreted for you guys and linearized so that you can understand it. So, energy has an expiration date. It always does. And when it reaches its expiration date, it becomes parasitic. Okay, so when think of God or your higher self or your spirit or source, whatever you call your higher power, you can use those interchangeably. Think of your higher power as a loan officer lending you money, energy, to build a new world. So that energy comes in the form of a person that's in your life so that you can learn a few lessons. And then when you've learned those lessons and you guys have nothing else to share, truly, you're both on the same page with this, okay? We have to learn how to let go because that energy isn't yours. That was a loan from the universe so that you can build a new foundation, so that you can learn about who you are, so that you can remember who you are. And when the time comes that we have to let something go, and that applies to everything from a job, it applies to friendships sometimes, to old habits. All right, everything that's given to us is so that we can up level. It's a stepping stone on our journey, and then we have to know when to let it go. And so, if you had a carton of milk in your fridge and it went sour, a lot of us keep it there. We do that with our lives, with everything. We keep it there when we know we're not going to drink it anyways. And what it's going to do is it's going to start to reek, and it's going to make everything else in your fridge sour. And we do that to ourselves all the time. And we have to get to a place where we say, all right, I'm going to toss this carton of milk away because it wasn't mine to begin with. Everything that you're given, and this has helped me a lot tremendously on my journey, including money and everything, it's not really yours. And if you can look at these means as tools that allow you to, go through your everyday life and take care of others and support yourself on the journey and support others, then you will never get overly attached to what you have, to your possessions, because they're not really your possessions. They're given to you because you've been responsible with your energy, and the universe is affording you and giving you more responsibility. But those aren't really yours. Okay, so we have to know when to let things go. We have to know when to toss things away. Usually we're in resistance to where spirit is trying to transport us. So we hang on and we hang on and we hang on, not understanding that if you let it go, you're actually going to travel to an amazing reality. You're going to move up to a whole new existence. So let yourself be Aladdin and go on that magic carpet ride. But before you do that, know that you have to give back what you took, what you borrowed, so that you can invest in yourself, so that you can better yourself and fortify yourself. And then once you learn that and you're ready for the next level, you have to give that old energy back because it wasn't yours. And all energy is going to expire eventually. What most people do is they build a lot of bondage because they don't want to let go of anything or anyone. So they're in a way making a deal with the enemy. They're making a deal with the dark side. And I think of them as like energetic hoarders, kind of like how people hoard in their house. They might have like millions of books in their house and they don't want to let it go because that they've overly identified as that. And that's really unhealthy because you're holding on to energy that's gone stale. And so if that energy is stale, it's not going to get you to move higher in your life. There's no movement there anymore. And so you're hanging on to it from a place of fear, from a place of lack. Oh, I'm not going to be provided for if I let this go, when in fact something greater is going to swoop into your life. So we have to trade the old car in order to get the new one. All right, we have to be willing to throw the stuff out of our fridge that doesn't need to be there anymore in order to put new items in there, in order to put new fruit and vegetables and all that stuff in there. But don't hang on to things that are expired. Energy does become parasitic. It was such a massive download that I got about a month ago. I was feeling very overwhelmed. And I was doing like 8-9 readings a day, and I was like, and at first, the first few years of that was great because I was building experience and I was making money, and I had never made money in my life. So of course I was like trying to vacuum it all in, and also honing in on my skills and polishing my my practice. But then it got to a point where I was like, all right, Phil, you've proven to yourself that you can do this, that no matter what happens, you can make it through any obstacle course. And then the overwhelmingness kicked in. The overwhelmingness didn't kick in for a few years. And then I couldn't crack the code. And finally it hit me. Oh, I'm the one imposing that upon myself. I need to start having a team. I need to start delegating, and I need to start having online systems and all of this. And overnight, I took care of that stuff. Overnight, the overwhelmingness was gone. It was subtracted from my equation. So usually when an energy that has taught you a lot expires, it will then turn into a parasite. And that's when you have to, dust your shoulder off and say, all right, this has taught me what I needed. You give thanks for it. You give thanks to it. You're in appreciation. You're in gratitude for all that you've learned. But then you have to send it back off because it has other missions. All the energies that you pull in and that you collaborate with, they're all kind of like little spirits in a way. That's how I look at it, right? So if you're a yogi, you're going to pull in different spirits that teach you how to do yoga. You're going to get that internal guidance, that higher guidance from within. And you're going to learn all these amazing things if you're tuning into your body. And then if you switch to CrossFit, those yogic spirits can't help you. So you're probably going to pull in a different set of guides and discard the old ones because those other ones, they're not applicable to this new practice or to this new exercise. So look at your life like that, because it really works that way. And so it works that way. You can look at them as spirit guides, you can look at them as entities or energies, or you can just look at it as different aspects of yourself, because you're multidimensional. And once you've reintegrated an aspect of who you are back into your body, back into your cellular structure, sorry, that's my phone. Once you've done that, then, and you've embodied that aspect of yourself that was once separate from you, meaning taking your power back, okay? Then you need to say, all right, cool, we've made it. Now we can let go of that reality. We've already integrated it. We've already gotten the lesson. So then you have to kind of discard that reality and move on to the next one. So get on that magic carpet ride, because the universe is trying to transport you to amazing places. And what we do, I speak to so many people who think they have a block. We don't really have blocks. We think we have one, and then that blocks the creation. All right, there's a certain sequence to the awakening process. Everything has a sequence. So you can't fast track something that needs time to develop, just like you can't force a fruit to grow unless you fill it with GMOs and stuff. We don't want the GMOs. We want to grow organically. We want to be present with our processes and understand the mechanics of all things, of your spirit, of all of it. So with life, if you feel like your relationship has taught you what you needed to learn, okay, and has allowed you to reintegrate an aspect of yourself that you had forgotten about, and you're remembering who you are now, and you've remembered, and this relationship has afforded you that, then remember that energy, that fear that you're hanging on to isn't yours. It's turned into fear, but at first it was given to you out of love, and you use that to build, get to know who you are, get to know who they are, in a way cultivate your relationship from within with your higher self. And then, right, if you're hanging on to it, it's rendered into fear. That's when you have to let it go, because it's become parasitic. So God, source, higher self, spirit, it gave you a loan. It lent you a car so that you can get around, so you can explore different sites, so that you can explore different dimensions from within yourself. And then once you've accumulated those experiences and you've gone on these amazing adventures, then you need to say, all right, here, that's not my car. I'm giving it back to you. And then you make room for new things to enter your reality. So we have to get rid of the old energy in order to make way for the new energy. This is how it works. Your body can only hold so much energy. It's like a phone. It has a certain amount of gigabytes. All right. So if something is occupying that space and it's blocking or prohibiting the universe from creating through you and for you, then you need to be willing to delete whichever excess data you have on your phone, all that stuff that's taking up the memory storage, you have to get rid of that. And then you can start bringing in new photos. You can bring in new memories. You can bring in all that stuff. So that's just a metaphor just to say that your body is, your physical body can definitely stretch to amazing realities and can expand and be hugely, have a huge capacity for holding light, but it's still a physical structure. And so that's where you have to be like, all right, wait, what am I still holding on to? That's taking up room. That's blocking what's trying to come in, and then you release it. You drop it. I wanted to share this because this was massive for me. I mean, I'm constantly getting downloads, but this was a big one for me. I was putting the overwhelmingness on myself, and because I couldn't see what was going on spiritually, right? I just went into overwhelmingness. I felt like I was going on overdrive. And then I took the time, I meditated, I introspected, for months upon months to try to figure out what this thing is, to crack the code. And I realized I was self-inflicting. No one had a gun to my head saying, oh, you need to take 8-9 sessions a day. I was taxing my own system. So with everything in life, know that you are the commander of your ship. No one is forcing you to do anything. If you're no longer happy at your job, that's your indicator. That energy has become expired. All right? You've proven that you could be there a long time. You've probably learned great lessons. You've amassed a lot of knowledge. You've made great relationships. And now if it's not feeding you anymore, if it's not allowing you to move up or step up vibrationally, then it's no longer vibrationally compatible. So that's where you have to say, all right, it's expired. Time to get this carton of milk out of the fridge. And you toss it. We're so afraid sometimes that we hoard everything. We're like energetic hoarders. And we're preventing ourselves from expanding. We're preventing ourselves from reaching that next octave, that higher octave. All right? Your being is like a piano. There are so many octaves. Your next higher self, or your 1.0, 2.0 version of you, 3.0 version, 4.0, and you eventually reach multidimensionality to where you simply don't make an agreement with fear anymore. When the time is up, it's up. You let it go. So be mindful of these things, because your spirit is truly trying to catapult you out of anything that is a dense reality and constantly trying to move you into higher density realities, into higher vibrational realities. And if you get in its way, it's not that you have a block, it's that you are the block. You're getting in the way of it's kind of like if you had a pipe and you have muck in it. If you try to put water through it, it's not going to go. You have to remove the muck. That way the universe can flow in and through and out of you and create and birth new realities for you. So there are so many things to achieve. There are so many dreams to fulfill. You're here for an amazing purpose. Amazing. And you just have to be willing to know when the time is up with something. Okay? And give thanks for everything that comes into your life, because it's teaching you about who you are. It's allowing you to remember who you are. And know that some people will stick with you forever and you'll constantly grow because you guys have a similar objective. Maybe you're both on a spiritual path and you call each other out when you've fallen off the wagon, right? Or if you're in a marriage where your objective in life is to be fit, then you guys may stay together for life because you have a similar objective. But most of the time you'll find that, people fall away because you're constantly moving up and higher and higher and higher. And then there's a gap that starts to form between you two. And then the relationship just isn't working anymore. You're on different frequencies of bandwidth. So recognize when you've learned and when you've brought your lessons to completion within that particular dynamic. And then know that if you keep hanging on to it, that energy is going to become like a parasite that feeds off your energy. So get out of your way. If you're not happy at your job and you've proven that you can be there for years upon years, but you're not learning about who you are anymore, leave. That energy's expired. Give it away. And then same applies to relationships or to aspirations that you have or anything in life. Just go for it. And remember, you have to trade in the old in order to get the new. So the universe is your loan officer, and it will give you and support you always. It's always looking out for you, and it's a huge trap to think that what you have is yours. That's when people get really egotistical, right? And their ego starts to inflate like a balloon. It's because they think it's theirs, right? So they go around and they're like, "Look at me," blah 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 blah, and they're overly attached to what they have. And whenever we're overly attached to any reality, then eventually the universe is going to have to dismantle that reality because it wants to keep you humble. It wants to keep you in your heart. And when you get all big-headed, you're big-headed. You're not in your heart anymore. You're in your mind. So it's been great for me to learn that my money isn't mine. It's a tool. That my lessons aren't mine. I'm tuning into energy that's always existed from ascended masters and from source. I'm receiving that information from source, and I get those downloads in meditation. So I'm not creating anything new. I'm just tuning into something that already exists, that always did exist. It's consciousness, but it's not mine. It's just we are channels, and we're here to serve a greater purpose, our higher selves, the universe, the galaxies. And so when it's time to clear your phone of extra data or extra gigabytes, do it, because the universe has more in store for you, and it needs you to be its ambassador. It needs you to be a representative of the light. So travel light. All right, travel light. I hope that helps.